Have you ever pondered the possibility of extraterrestrial life and what might happen if they decided to pay us a visit? Alien abductions, a topic that has stirred curiosity and fear for decades. This intriguing enigma has sparked debates, inspired movies, and filled hearts with awe and dread. What is it about these supposed encounters that captivate us? Imagine the vast, infinite cosmos teeming with life forms unknown to us. Now, picture a spacecraft from another galaxy, manned by highly advanced beings visiting Earth. Not for a simple flyby, but to interact and perhaps abduct. A chilling thought, isn't it? Yet this is what many claim to have experienced. Stories of peculiar beings, strange lights, lost time, and peculiar physical phenomena permeate popular culture. Skeptics dismiss these as fabrications, while others insist there's more than meets the eye. The sheer number of these accounts, their consistency and global span, are puzzling. Despite ridicule and skepticism, these stories persist. Are they just products of collective imagination or pop culture? Or is there truth hidden within tales of alien encounters? Regardless, the enigma of alien abductions continues to intrigue, inviting us to question and explore the cosmos. Today, we'll delve into some of the most notorious cases that have left people questioning the existence of life beyond Earth. Our journey begins in the mid-1950s with a Brazilian farmer named Antônio Villas Boas. A hard-working man of the soil, Boas was not one given to flights of fancy. However, his life took an unexpected turn one fateful night. He claimed that he was forcibly taken from his fields by creatures not of this world. These beings, he described, were humanoid but not human, and they took him aboard their craft. Inside this otherworldly vessel, Boas experienced things that defied explanation. He recounted undergoing medical examinations performed by these alien beings. The procedures were unlike anything known to modern medicine at the time. There were instruments that hummed and glowed, and the beings communicated in a language that was utterly foreign to him. Most disturbingly, Boas claimed that he was forced into a sexual encounter with a female entity. This disturbing event, he believed, was part of an extraterrestrial program to create a hybrid species. Following his alleged abduction, Boas sought out medical help. He was found to be suffering from radiation sickness, a condition not easily faked, and one that added a degree of credibility to his outlandish claims. However, the world wasn't ready for such a story in the 50s. The Villas Boas case did not receive much attention until several years later. It was only in the wake of the 60s cultural changes and the space race that people began to take notice. The skepticism was thick and the ridicule was brutal. Yet Boas stood by his account, enduring the disbelief and mockery. He never sought fame or fortune from his claims. In fact, he went on to become a successful lawyer, never once recanting his extraordinary tale. This early claim set a precedent, paving the way for many more stories of alien encounters to come. It forced us to question our place in the universe and wonder if we are truly alone. After all, the universe is a vast place, filled with countless stars and potentially life-sustaining planets. Could we really be the only ones? Fast forward to 1973, a chilling incident involving two fishermen near Pascagoula, Mississippi, would send shockwaves through the UFO enthusiast community. In the quiet solitude of a Mississippi night, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were engaged in what should have been a peaceful pastime, fishing. However, their tranquility soon gave way to terror as they found themselves the center of an otherworldly encounter. As the tale goes, Hickson and Parker were suddenly enveloped by a blinding light. Paralyzed by an unseen force, they claimed to have been levitated into a spacecraft by robotic creatures. Inside the craft, they were examined by what can only be described as extraterrestrial beings, with no apparent regard for their fear or discomfort.
Last October, in the quiet Mississippi town of Pascagoula, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker told of a strange craft landing near their fishing site and of being taken aboard by 3 unearthly creatures.
Sheriff Diamond, can you tell me just what happened that night?
No, sir, I can't. All I can tell you is there was 2 men came into the sheriff's department approximately 8:30 and 9 o'clock. They were all excited, upset, wanting to climb the walls, hysterical, crying. That's actually all I know is what happened. I mean, as far as me seeing what happened, I don't know.
I guess that's when I heard it. It was some kind of zipping sound. And when I turned around, in this area out here, about 40 or 50 feet out there, there was some kind of craft, you know. It looked like it's going to come right onto the ground. But it came on down and hovered about a 1.5 or 2 feet off of the ground. And we didn't know what to do, you know. The river behind us and that out there not knowing what it was.
It was real bright light, and 3 things appeared in the doorway. They seemed to just glide out of the craft. They never touched the ground. They seemed to just glide across, and 2 of them took me by the arms from the side, and 1 took hold of Calvin, and I seen Calvin go limp, and I didn't know it then, but he had fainted.
The blue light, it had blue flashing lights as it was, you know, approaching the ground, but then they went out. And when the opening appeared, some source of light came from the inside. It was just almost blinding.
In fact, for about 3 or 4 days, I had something like a bad welding flash in my eyes.
People coming out at first?
Well, I kind of thought it was people at first, you know, off like that. But of course, when they appeared there in front of me, it was the most shock I've ever had in my life.
The details of their story, as outlandish as they may sound, were enough to prompt an investigation by local authorities. The men were separated and interrogated, their stories compared for inconsistencies. Despite the extraordinary nature of their claims, they stuck to their story, adding credibility to their account in the eyes of many. Following the incident, both men were subjected to polygraph tests and psychiatric evaluations.
And while it is still very difficult for us to believe that a spaceship landed and that robot-type creatures came out and actually took these 2 people into the spaceship, these men, in my opinion, believed that they saw this and that they were being honest in reporting what they have reported.
This is what we understand, Sheriff Diamond, that the 2 gentlemen, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, are being checked out for radiation at this time.
One of the men suffered a nervous breakdown and is still under treatment.
I understand, Sheriff Diamond, that the youngest man, 18 years old, I believe, Calvin Parker, is still in quite a bit of state of shock.
And that's very, very much true. He's still very, very upset.
The 2 men were questioned under hypnosis and lie detectors, but their story remained intact.
You know, we all find this hard to believe, but something happened to them. Their descriptions, their stories matched. They were interrogated separately and then left in a room together to discuss it, and it was all the same story all the time.
Tell me about the lie detector test.
They had in their mind that it was just a big joke. And if I understand it correctly, they ran 1 test on Mr. Hickson, The machine showed that he was telling the truth. Then they run another one. And then the examiner, he began to wonder himself. So he ran the third test, and he believed just what Mr. Hickson had told him.
And that's when the female creature come out, or what I call the female.
And she took her right hand and the two middle fingers on that. She started running down my throat. Well, I got to choking, and I was having a hard time breathing. Well, she took out her fingers and just kind of stood there and kind of looked at me. Now, she didn't say nothing, but mentally I felt like she said, "We're not going to harm you."
Now, it's enough to say you saw a UFO to give you trouble these days in some towns. To be taken aboard is just a suspect idea. But somehow, if the creatures don't give you a message, you're just a touch less incredible.
When they brought me from the craft along this area here, and they didn't drop me, they just released me back to the ground. And I fell. I don't know why my legs were weak. I don't know why it was the fright or what it was, but I fell onto the ground. And that's when I seen Calvin. He's standing right over here in this area, and he was standing facing the river with his arms outstretched like that.
It was like they had a job to do, and they came and they did it.
I think there has to be a reason why Calvin and me was picked.
Hickson, the older of the two, appeared on talk shows and gave interviews, while Parker, deeply traumatized, chose to live a life away from the limelight. Both men, however, never deviated from their original story, even decades after the incident. The Pascagoula abduction case became a landmark event in UFO history. Skeptics and believers alike were left to grapple with the implications of such an encounter. Was it a hoax, a misinterpretation of natural phenomena, or perhaps a genuine interaction with beings from another world? What's certain is that the Pascagoula incident, much like the Antônio Villas Boas case, added another layer of complexity to the enigma of UFO abductions. Both cases serve to challenge our understanding of the universe and our place within it. This case, like the Villas Boas incident, added fuel to the growing fire of UFO abduction claims. As we move into the 1980s, the alien abduction phenomenon gains mainstream attention. Numerous individuals claimed extraterrestrial encounters, sparking public curiosity. Key personalities such as Budd Hopkins, Whitley Strieber, David M. Jacobs, Johnny Mack, and Thomas E. Bullard played vital roles in this shift. Hopkins, an artist turned UFO researcher, documented abductees' accounts with empathy. Meanwhile, Strieber, a novelist, narrated his alleged abduction experience in his book Communion, captivating the public's imagination. Historian Jacobs gave a historical context, and psychiatrist Mack lent credibility to the abductees' accounts. Folklorist Bullard, with his analytical study of nearly 300 reported abductees, provided a comprehensive overview. Their collective works, coupled with the increasing abduction claims, shifted alien abduction from fringe theory to mainstream debate.
Dr. David M. Jacobs has been doing research in the UFO abduction field for over 40 years, published several books, and has worked with thousands of abductees, mostly using hypnosis techniques to reveal these experiences. He states, "My research is based on more than 42 years of UFO research. In addition, since 1986, I have conducted over 1,000 hypnotic regressions with abductees. I've tried to be as objective and as agenda-free as possible. I have no New Age, spiritual, religious, transformational, or transcendent program to promote. I try to stay as close to the evidence as I can. However, There's no possibility that I have avoided error. The majority of evidence for the alien abduction phenomenon is from human memory derived from hypnosis. It is difficult to imagine a weaker form of evidence, but it is evidence and we have a great deal of it. Admitting to the difficulty of researching the abduction phenomena, Jacobs, however, rules out the idea that abductions are just a psychological or imaginary issue. Too many accounts from too many unrelated people tell the same developing stories over and over, which just don't fit into any psychological frame. So how does a typical abduction look like? Jacobs describes it in a nutshell. Abductions are a complex series of events and procedures directed by the abductors to passive or controlled abductees. In a typical or common abduction, humans are taken out of their normal environment by aliens. The people are rendered passive and cannot resist. They are taken aboard a UFO, their clothes are removed, and they are made to lie on a table. A series of physical, mental, and productive procedures are then administered to the subjects. People's physical bodies are probed and examined, sperm is taken, eggs are harvested. The aliens perform staring procedures during which they gaze into abductees' eyes at a distance of only an inch or two. These mind scan procedures appear to be neurological manipulations which give the aliens the ability to enter into people's minds. After the table procedures, abductees report that they are sometimes taken into other rooms where they are required to have skin-on-skin contact with unusual-looking babies. Abductees say that these babies seem to be crosses between humans and aliens. They call them hybrids. Abductees also see hybrid toddlers, older youth, adolescents, and adults. Sometimes abductees report that they are required to perform tasks, that they are tested in some way. They say that machines are brought in to examine them. They sometimes are required to have a form of sexual intercourse with other humans and sometimes with adolescent and adult hybrids. They are returned to their normal environment and within seconds they forget what just happened to them. The individual abductee accounts are far more detailed. Not all are UFO related. Some have to do with underground bases. Dr. Jacobs says that after all these years of research and putting the pieces together, he can see a picture emerging. It looks like there's a program in the works with a certain goal, and that producing offspring may be one of the objectives behind the abduction phenomenon for the purpose of creating a hybrid race.
Wrapping up our journey through the enigmatic world of alien abductions, we are left with an array of compelling cases and theories. From the early encounters that sparked a global interest to recent unsettling links, each story deepens the mystery. The debate rages on, with skeptics dismissing these instances while believers stand firm. These stories have marked our understanding of the universe. They challenge our reality and force us to question what we know. As we have seen, the search for answers can lead us down fascinating paths. So, where does this leave us? Are we alone in the universe, or sharing it with beings beyond our comprehension? The answer remains obscured. As we continue to explore, we must keep an open mind, ready to embrace the possibilities. The unknown draws us in, pushing us to explore uncharted territories. The mystery of alien abductions captivates us, fueling our fascination. As we stare up into the vast expanse of the night sky, we help but wonder, are we truly alone, or is something out there looking back at us? Thank you for watching UFO Archives. Please stay tuned, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment or some wishes in the comment section. And remember that bell thingy. Thank you.